Hey everyone, today we're going to tackle one of the biggest, most profound questions ever asked, using a little bit of logic and philosophy. If a creator exists, why can't we, see them? It seems like such a simple question, right? But to really get into it, we have to go on a little journey through physics, logic, and the very nature of what it even means to perceive anything. So let's start right there. What does it actually mean to see something in the first place? Okay, so first things first, we've got to break down what seeing really is. I mean, think about it. Our eyes are physical tools, and just like any tool, whether it's a hammer or a microscope, they're designed for a very specific job. They have rules, they have limits. It's not like we just open our eyes and instantly download all of reality. Now, this is a really interesting line from the Quran. What's so key here is that it's not a command. It's not saying you're not allowed to look. It's more of a description, a statement of fact about our own capabilities. It's basically saying our vision has its limits. Seeing isn't some kind of magic trick. It's a very real, very specific biological and physical process. It has rules. For you to see literally anything, the screen in front of you, your own hand, a whole chain of events has to happen in a very precise order, every single time. And here's that process, step by step. First, you need an object that's limited. It has to have edges, a shape, a boundary, so that light can bounce off of it. Second, that light has to physically travel through space and hit your eyeball. And third, your brain has to take that light signal and translate it into an image you can understand. Everything, and I mean everything, you have ever seen in your entire life has followed these exact three rules.
Okay, so we've got the rules of vision down pat. Now, what happens when we try to apply those very physical, very strict rules to the philosophical concept of a creator? Well, this is where things get really interesting, and we run into a kind of logical paradox.
And here it is, the central problem. Look at the two columns. For us to see something, it has to exist in time, it has to occupy space, and it has to have physical limits. But how is a creator typically defined? As the complete opposite. Timeless, outside of space, and limitless. You can see the contradiction right there. So let's just think this through for a second. If you could see a creator, what would that look like? Would they have a height, a width, a depth? The moment you say yes, you've just put a boundary on something that's supposed to be boundless, right? The very act of seeing it would mean it has dimensions. And that brings us to the next big question. How can a limitless being be squeezed into a limited, measurable object inside its own creation? It's like asking an artist to literally become a flat, two-dimensional character inside their own painting. It just doesn't compute. So, this is where the whole request to see God it hits a logical wall. It's a fundamental contradiction. You can't perceive something that is limitless using tools, our eyes, that are built only to perceive limited things. You could say our hardware just isn't built to process that kind of data. All right, so if looking with our eyes is a logical dead end, then what? Are we just stuck? Well, no. This is where the whole inquiry takes a really cool turn. It suggests we need to completely shift our perspective. Maybe the goal isn't to see the actor, but to see the effects of the action. And that's a huge shift, isn't it? We stop looking for a thing to observe, and we start looking for the evidence, the fingerprints, the traces, the patterns, and the results that are all around us, pointing back to a source. Think about gravity for a second. Have you ever seen gravity? No way. None of us have. You can't point to it. But do you doubt it exists? Of course not. And why? Because you see what it does every single day, when an apple falls from a tree, or when we see planets orbiting the sun. We see its effect, and that's all the proof we need. Or how about this? The mind, your mind. You can't physically see a thought, can you? You can't put an idea on a scale and weigh it, but we see the effects of the mind all the time, in art, in music, in organized thought, in the very words I'm saying right now. We see its incredible creativity, and we know it's there. Here's one more that really brings it home. It's like a computer program. You don't see the programmer, do you? You have no idea what they look like or where they are. But as you use the software, you see their intelligence. You see the design, the logic, the purpose in the code. The program itself is the evidence of the programmer. Okay, so let's tie all of this together. Where does this philosophical journey ultimately lead us? Now, this next idea is pretty deep. What if not being able to see a creator isn't a bug but a feature?
Think about it. If the proof was right there, 100% undeniable, staring you in the face, would you really have a choice to believe? It would be a compulsion. So maybe this visual absence is what actually protects our genuine free will. I love this quote. It's so simple, but it perfectly captures the whole idea. The drawing exists in a 2D world of paper and ink. The artist exists in a 3D world, totally outside of the drawing's reality. The creation just doesn't have the capacity to perceive the creator from within its own limited world.
And that's us. We are beings within the laws of nature. Our entire perception of reality is defined by them. So trying to use our senses, which are bound by those laws, to perceive something outside of them, well, it's like trying to measure the temperature with a ruler. You've just got the wrong tool for the job.
So in the end, the takeaway here isn't necessarily about a lack of existence, but perhaps about a different kind of existence. It is a visual absence for sure, but a complete existential presence. One that's perceived not with the eyes, but understood through its effects, in the elegant laws of the cosmos, the intricate design of nature, and for many, in the search for meaning within ourselves.